Shalom and welcome to a traveling club stream. Na 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 na. Yeah 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 yeah. We will travel Israel, we will see the truth. And when they say we are lying, we will show the proof. Yeah, habibi. Na 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 na. Yeah 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 yeah. So y'all come with me for another stream. Become a clap. Join my Patreon. Become a clap. Join my Patreon. And don't forget my Discord because it's very fun. Na 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 na. Yeah 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 yeah. Humus shawarma jachnun burekas. אני אוהב אתכם, שלום עליכם. But come hang out with me and I take you by the hand. This is the Traveling Clan live stream. Shalom and welcome to a Traveling Clan stream. Na 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 na. Yeah 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 yeah. It's a travel Israel, we will see the truth. And when they say we are lying, we will show the proof. Yeah, habibi, become a clap. Join my Patreon, become a clap. Join my Patreon. And don't forget my Discord because it's very fun. This is the Traveling Clan live stream. Na 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 na. Yeah 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 yeah. Na 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 na. Yeah 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 yeah. Na 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 na. Yeah 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 yeah. Na 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 na. Yeah 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 yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Habibis and Habibtis. How is everyone doing on this fine, beautiful evening from the land of Israel? From the land of Israel. I'm so happy to be with all of you, my friends. My friends, and my enemies. Hello, 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 hello. Not my enemies, but all my friends. Everyone here is my friends. Where do we start? It's so good to be back with all of you today. I'm opening in the call lines right now, so you can feel free to call in. I'll be tagging everybody on the Discord server. For anybody who's confused on how it works calling in, it's as simple as joining the Discord server, which will be in the description below, and or coming through a bot. I'm not sure if the bot works anymore. It may have stopped working for some reason. Call-in time. But you'll be able to call in and talk about whatever you want. We're usually looking for somebody who does not... Sorry, I got the hiccups right at the beginning of the show. That's bad. Usually we're looking for somebody who does not agree with my stances, but I'm so sorry. So unprofessional of me to get hiccups right at the beginning of the show. I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry. So yes, we're looking usually for somebody who is... It's just embarrassing. Who doesn't agree with what I'm saying, who wants to come on and debate their points. That's the whole point of the show, is to have open and honest conversation. My God. But before we get into all that, I want to let you guys know I can't do any of this without your support. A lot of my content gets demonetized. So if you want to help out, joining my Patreon is the best way. For just $5 a month, you can get exclusive content. I've been trying to do it every Monday. I've not been doing a good job. It's supposed to be every Monday, but now I actually hired somebody to specifically cut the clips that I do, the extra bonus clips that you guys get on Mondays. I literally invested in somebody now to cut those clips because I couldn't keep up with it myself. So there's an extra expense now for the Patreon, but hopefully we'll be coming back with those clips very soon. It's been hard for me to get back to on top of it. Plus, you get a private chat from me with just $10 a month on Patreon, on Discord. $5 a month, you get access to the Clat chat, and then $10 a month, you get access to the bonus live stream after every single stream here. You get an extra live stream. You can also show me love through Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, and Super Chats right here on stream, or visit thetravelingclad.com and get amazing merch just like this shirt, King David's Close Friends List. This is a shirt design from thetravelingclad.com. And support me, and you get something amazing just like this. Every bit helps the channel go, but Patreon is definitely the most appreciated. Thank you to everybody who's supporting the channel, to all the members, the patrons, the PayPalers, and the coffee buyers. I see you guys all, and I appreciate you so very much. And I say, let's just begin. Let's begin the show right here. We got a bunch of people queued up to call in. Let's see who's paying attention, if anyone actually is. Does anybody here disagree with my points and wants to raise their hand for an opportunity to come on and argue with the traveling clad himself? Anybody here of that opinion? If you are, please take a second and raise your hand right now in the chat. Anybody in general who wants to come on and talk can also raise their hand. And I'll go ahead and start inviting people up in a minute. But yes, please let me know, by the way, anybody who's watching right now, let me know where you are watching from. I want to know what country you are watching from. You let me know. Okay, it doesn't seem like anybody here so far wants to argue with the Zionists. So let's just start. Let's start bringing the whole pack up. Let's bring the whole gang in. Gang, gang. Gang, gang. Gang, gang. So please, everybody who's coming up to the stage right now, just stay on mute unless I have called upon you and your beautifulness to speak to me. Just stay on mute so we can try to respect one another. All right, I think I got everybody that was in the chat. I don't think I missed anyone. All right, I do believe that somebody raised their hand. I think it was Viper911 was the only one who actually raised their hand before being called on. So, Viper, would you like to start us off? What's on your mind?
Hey man, what's up?
How you doing, brother?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well.
So tell me what's on your mind.
The thing is, actually, I agree with you in many points, actually.
Okay.
But somewhat, I don't agree with you in some certain points.
What do you not agree with me on?
Não, tu estás paragos, mas que não terei.
Well,
Tu estás paragos.
about Islam, actually, well, I don't know how to say it, but when you talk about Islam and saying that this the religion is the one that's causing the people to be like a violent or aggressive or this one, I disagree with that point.
Can you explain again? I'm sorry that you disagree that with my belief that Islam doesn't make them violent?
No, it makes them violent. Islam makes some certain texts, some certain hadith, some certain things that I've been watching your channel and other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them say that these, like the hadith and the text, the Islamic texts and this one, are like, making violence or making people go violent against the Jews or other religions.
And you don't believe in that?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Okay, I actually think we agree. I don't think I've ever. I mean, I think the only thing I've ever said to my recollection is that there are problematic sentences in the Quran that definitely do demonize Jewish people and they demonize Christians. But I don't believe I've ever said that the Quran or Islam makes people more violent. I think that people in this region have a violent tendency. But
yeah, basically what. Yeah. Yeah, basically what you said in the first thing, that's what I mean. It's like there are certain things that in the Islam or in the Quran or in the Hadith that are demonizing, like you said. Those I don't agree with exactly.
Cool. So I think we agree.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was easy. All right. Well, I'm happy I got you sorted out. That was the first. That was a nice, easy call for the first one.
No, I didn't know because there are like many hadith and texts and in the Quran which are misunderstood, and they are been misinterpreted. Even 90% of the Muslims don't know the correct interpretation of those texts and those meanings of those hadith. That's why I believe it's the Muslims. Yes, you're right. In one case, I agree with you. The Muslims do take these texts and these verses, and they, manipulate the meaning of them for evil purposes.
Yeah, like look again, like
Political
there are very problematic sentences in the Quran. There are even more problematic sentences in the Hadith. But I don't believe that it's the book that's causing people to behave this way. I think it's the practicers. Also, I mean, whether or not this makes somebody feel comfortable or not, there are very problematic stories about the life of Muhammad and stuff that's accepted by the wider Muslim community of Muhammad being a warlord. And so, but again, I refuse to demonize. I refuse to be one of those creators. And again, I don't necessarily judge those other creators because I get where they're coming from. I just refuse myself to fall into that bracket of somebody who demonizes Muslim people or all Muslim people because of their religion. What I end up blaming a lot of people for is it's the colonization behind Arabism and Islamism and jihadism that are causing the problems in this region. I think it's less the religion in the book because there's millions of Sufi Muslims and Ahmadi Muslims in this world, and even Alawites who are non-violent and fairly well put together communities. But a lot of it has to do, in my opinion, with micro communities. I don't believe that, and I think in Christianity too, this is an issue. I don't believe that these concepts can transcend into massive and millions of people, or hundreds of millions of people, or billions of people. The way these communities work, if they function well, is when they're on the micro. I think that Jewish people will have this issue in the future as well too, if they keep on expanding too large. But right now we're nowhere near that. 15 million is tiny. It's like it's the size of a city in America. The whole global Jewish population. Every Jew knows the other Jew. Like we all know each other. When you expand Islam and Christianity to such large numbers, there's going to be massive issues that come along with that, because I really don't believe that these concepts can go that large. I think the way that you make peaceful, self-governing communities is by the micro. And that's why you see Sufis, their smaller community within Islam, they're able to govern themselves and become more peaceful. Alawites, same thing. Druze, same thing. Even though the Druze are not Muslim, they're kind of Islamic adjacent. The smaller the community, the more well-functioning it is, in my opinion. That might be a hot take, and I'm willing for people to disagree with me on it, but that's my opinion.
Well, your opinion is valid. So I find it okay, acceptable. I mean, yeah.
Okay, well.
But, yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right. Nice talking to you, man.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, same.
All right, what about Muscle Tough? I don't think I've ever spoken to Muscle Tough before. Muscle Tough?
Hi, sorry, I was distracted. I just saw the Candace Owens video that she's blaming the Jewish community in New Jersey for attempts on her life. So I wasn't listening to what you were just talking about.
Oh, well, it's okay. Did you have anything specific on your mind?
Yeah, I got an email this morning, and I like your opinion about this or anybody in the forum.
Okay.
I was contacting, let me pull it up. I was contacting Betar. You know Betar?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
US?
Yeah.
Because I saw Rabbi Yishav Fleischer interviewing one of the leaders of their groups.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been trying to connect with people in Los Angeles to set up training for Shomers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know where to start because I I'm not very connected to any communities. So I emailed them and I said, and I asked if there was any group in LA, and if possible, I could connect with the kibbutz in that I've been building in the Antelope Valley. And then I got an answer back, and it says, "Why do you wanna?" Oh wait, what did they say? They say kibbutzim are leftist. And because my website is Make America Great Again, because I say that if we build more farm communities like kibbutzim in America, it will make America great again, because it's a place where I think different cultures connect in Israel and get more the counterculture that you keep preaching. I believe in that. And then they say that the Make America Great Again movement is very far away from a kibbutz concept. But what I understood in the past from people, that there are two different kind of kibbutzim in Israel, is conservative and progressive. And how do you feel, and why do you think that nobody, as far as I know, I'm the only one that's been building these kibbutzim in America? Do you know of any kibbutz in America?
I've
And
never heard of
how
a
do you
kibbutz
feel
in
about what
America.
Betar is telling me, that it makes no sense to connect the kibbutz with the Make America Great Again movement?
I don't know enough about Betal to be able to say. I know some of the controversy they've been involved in. But I think probably they would reject the concept of a kibbutz, because the kibbutzim stemmed out of the communist Europe worldview. Now, you could argue that the communism worldview could be an ancient Jewish worldview. You could definitely argue that point, and some people do. And the idea of living in small communal villages or kibbutzim, they actually transcend modern communism. I'm not here to really make that argument pro or against. I would only say that's probably, if Betal has the reservation, that's probably what the reservation would be, because they align, in my opinion, with as far right in America as possible. I think I don't really know that much about Betal. I know that they do some good things. They also do some bad things, like every organization. And as for the three or the two different kind of kibbutzim you were saying, I actually think the kibbutzim have changed so much in Israel. So I used to live on a kibbutz for a while in the north. I've brought you guys on the channel a few times to there. Like most kibbutzim now have transitioned to be very like capitalist, just because that's how Israel is. And like the communist style kibbutzim didn't really survive the test of time, just because Israel did become super capitalist. So nowadays you do have some progressive ideological kibbutzim, but the whole concept of kibbutz have kind of flipped on its head now. They've all mostly sort of transitioned into moshavim. They are still known as kibbutzim, but they're kind of like moshavim. They're just kind of places that people live, but everybody has different salaries. The war definitely, especially in the north, changed that a little bit, and in the south, in the Gaza envelope, they instantly became more communal after the war, after October 7th. And as for starting them in America, I really have no idea. I've never heard of anybody ever trying to start. You're the first person I've ever heard of trying to start a kibbutz in America. But I think it's a cool concept. I would love to see its execution. I'd love to see how it would work.
Yeah, well, I've been trying with my husband, who went back to Israel, but I've been trying for over a decade, and I've been having a lot of obstacles thrown at me from the administration of the Garcetti Bass, like the Los Angeles mayor. When I started bringing sheep into the city, and they put me on a land use criminal court. They had me in court for like 10 years, trying to stop me in every possible way. Every time it went well, they came with a new frivolous lawsuit and violations. They just made them up as they went. Every time I had success, and I had hundreds of people coming to the Los Angeles sites, that's when they would fight me hardest to stop me. So, but I'm still trying. now just a little bit more outside of the city, like an hour away from Hollywood, towards the Mojave Desert. It's you get less obstacles thrown at you here, but they're still trying to fight in every possible way. People growing their own food and workshops about teaching people how to farmstead, how to homestead, which is what I think that kibbutzim were based on. And I started changing the name when my parents told me, "Don't tell anybody you're Jewish. Don't put the Israeli flag." Um, I started calling them COCOs, constitutional communities, but it's more of a hybrid of a conservative and progressive place, because I think if you're talking about counterculture and a lot of Israel lovers, um, many of them is because they knew somebody or they themselves went to visit and spend time in kibbutzim in Israel. So I think, why not do that in America to open our arms and show what we're really about?
I love it. Well, I wish you the best of luck in it, and it's very interesting, and definitely keep us updated. Thanks for calling in.
I, I will. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right. Does anybody here, if you want to unmute, have a controversial opinion or something you want to argue, something you don't agree with me on? Testing the waters of the room. Let's see. Ayan?
I guess I'll chime in.
Okay.
I don't think I don't think the U.S. should give any aid to Israel, like at all. Not just because I don't support it, I do, but because I don't think they need any of it. I also think that's an opinion many Israelis have as well, from what I've heard.
Do you know how the aid works with Israel?
Well, I know a lot of it goes to the Iron Dome. And I do. And if like
Do you
can't
know the
support yourselves
aid
without
that
any-
America the aid that America gives Israel is not really aid. They give them they
Well,
give
yeah.
they give
I know
Israel
a lot of it's
discounted
on loan, but like
they give Israel discounted weapons contracts.
yeah.
It's not really aid. Like Israel's not in a position where it needs aid. Like it doesn't need. It's not like Yemen or Egypt or like we don't have Baruch Hashem. We don't have like starving populations in our country. God bless, because this country's done a good job. You know. You basically somebody just wrote it. It's like coupons. Like we get discounted weapons contracts that lock us into the American weapons industry. And we end up boosting the American economy by purchasing weapons from them and parts of weapons. I do believe that there are some programs that actually give flat-out aid, but I don't think it's a very large amount of money.
Those are the ones I'm against.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a very large amount of
Yeah,
money. I think it's something very nominal. I think like a large swath of that money is weapons contracts. You know what? I kind of agree with you too. I don't think that we should have weapons contracts. I think we should diversify at the very least those weapons contracts with other countries, just because America hasn't always had Israel's best interest in it.
It's more so I believe Israel should be self-sufficient, in
Sure.
this sort of area.
Sure.
I mean, like, the survival of your country, I think, is a little too important to rely on anyone for. I wouldn't expect America to rely on anyone to protect it. Which is why I'm glad we have the largest military in the world, so that we don't have to.
Sure. I don't disagree with you on that point. I think that I would
Can I
not.
jump into this topic, or
No, you have to wait your turn. We'll do it one by one. I don't think that Israel being reliant on America makes any sense in the long term, just because every 4 years we get like a lottery of who's supporting us behind the White House. So I agree. I'm with you on that point. I don't think that it would be great for Israel to lose those weapons contracts from America outright. I think we should still do business, especially in the military, with America, because at the end of the day, they are our closest ally. But I definitely think the idea of diversifying where we buy and buy weapons and source our supply for our army should come from a few different places, not just America. Like we should maybe do India, other countries. There's plenty of countries, different parts of Europe.
Sell a lot of weapons, I hear. Maybe you could take a little more of those to support yourselves.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I think we are in agreement there. Anything else? You got any other controversial opinions?
Well, I don't know. I think the Netanyahu administration could definitely do more. I think they might be dragging their feet a little, from what I hear. A lot of people say they just want to continue it for like power and whatnot, or to just keep winning elections. I don't think that's actually working though. I mean, they just don't seem very popular. I think
Sorry, who
they're
are
not
you talking about? Netanyahu's government?
the Netanyahu administration. Yeah, like their party, like as a whole. I think.
Yeah,
Like,
I actually
compared to
think
other
we probably
parties.
agree with that also. For the most part, his government is like extremely unpopular at this point. I mean, what does it mean unpopular? Everybody recognizes it's kind of like a necessary evil. I think that most of us don't want him in power after this war. It's just we're a little bit afraid of what happens if we're not, if we don't have him right now, or his
Oh,
Likud government.
I think that's a problem though, because if they know that, then then that's all the more reason to keep this war going, because then they could keep people afraid to vote him out, because what'll happen.
I think the thing is that this is a gross misunderstanding of how Israeli society works. I think people don't understand that we want this war to continue as long as it needs to continue to stop from what October 7th happened from ever happening again. And right
I know,
now,
and that's why like they don't like. I mean, with destroying Hamas, not like ending the war. I mean, destroying Hamas.
it's not just destroying Hamas. I think at this point, people have understood that it's probably necessary for us to reoccupy Gaza, and that wasn't something I even really thought was necessary at the beginning of the war. But just understanding how entrenched Palestinian society is with Hamas, and how deeply embedded Hamas is in Palestinian society, I think we all sort of have been a bit shocked, and we're all kind of like, well, I'm not sure if we have any other options. So it's not. Like, I understand where that's coming from if this was America. If this is America, and it'd be like, all right, then Bibi's just going to undermine everything, and he's going to just stay in power forever. The reality is, I think most Israelis want this war to continue until it absolutely has to, until we've come to a decisive victory, if that makes sense.
That would be occupation of the Strip.
I think at the moment, I can't really see another option. By the way, guys, I'm posting the link to join. I realize the chatbot's not working, and that's why a lot of people aren't joining. If you want to join the Discord, click here to join. I will try to pin it as well in a second. Yes, I do. I think that, honestly, I'm not sure how we proceed without reoccupying Gaza. At the moment, I really don't see
There
another.
are a lot there are a lot of Palestinians in Gaza who protest Hamas. I mean,
Not enough.
I assure you.
Yeah,
But
not enough.
I'd say with those people, maybe they're the people who, if we were to ever leave Gaza, if that were to be an option, they could take control.
No. Also, they can't be trusted.
Ever?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, if you're willing to risk your life, then tfaddal, but we're not. Like, that's the end of the day. Like, we've done. I really think when you look at Israel under a microscope and you say whatever the attempt's been on our end, like, I think we're content. Like, we've really given the best possible effort. I feel content with my country's effort to make peace with them, especially in Gaza. And again, I'm not necessarily one of those people who was ever like reoccupy Gaza. I just, at this point, I really don't know another solution. They can't be in power. They cannot self-govern. Palestinians are literally incapable of self-governing. But that transcends Gaza, by the way. It transcends the West Bank. It transcends Judea and Samaria. It transcends what's going on. It's even in Israel itself. A lot of Arab communities in Israel are an absolute mess, not because of Israel's mismanagement, but because Arab society has so much internal hatred. This is what I talk about ad nauseum on my channel. They have a very, very hard time. The Arabized world is so deeply confused, is so deeply traumatized by themselves. I don't really see a way for them to self-govern. I don't see the pathway.
Other Arab countries have warmed up to Israel.
Yeah.
You ever think that the Abraham Accords, for example, that could ever be a thing?
So the Abraham Accords consists of, at the moment, to my knowledge, two Arab countries, truly Arab countries. Morocco is a heavily Arabized country that was never 100% anti-Jewish, like never really slipped too much anti-Semitic. There was always waves, yeah. There were waves where there were times where 50,000 Jews were massacred in Morocco, and that was usually under Arab rule, not Amazi rule, which now the country's identity is fitting in a little bit more, and they're rejecting Arabism outright. But the only two countries that have really accepted the Abraham Accords that are real Arab countries are Bahrain and the UAE. Those are real Arabs. Those are like actual legitimate Arabs. South Sudan, who's a part of the Abraham Accords, is not neither is it an Arab country or an Arabized country. The southern
it's a Christian one.
Yeah, the South Sudan completely rejects Arabism. Sudan is they live and die by being Arabs, but South Sudan completely rejects it. So like there is a problem in Arabized society. Arabized is Lebanon, is Syria, is Jordan, is Egypt. These are countries that are deeply, deeply, deeply immoral at the societal fabric. Like they hate each other, and they're willing to murder each other in the millions every single year and turn a blind eye to it left and right. So I just think I can't see a pathway for Palestinians to ever have proper self-determination. One, because their identity itself is a bit shameful. But even if I'm going to argue that, okay, they are an identity now, which nobody's going to say not. They are an identity now. They're a nationality. It's muddled in so much bullshit from its core that it's really hard to have these people self-determine in anything beyond just hating Israel. You know, like even their identity kind of falls apart when you remove Israel from the aspect. Like, what is a Palestinian? I've asked this question before on the stream.
Well, I mean, I know that it's people who, it's like Arabs who like think they have a right to the land, I think.
But so like the question would be like, if I were to kick out all the Palestinians from Gaza and I would go sit there because I'm Arab, right? I'm an Arab Jew. I'm allowed. Like, what is it still an ethnic cleansing if you just replace one Arab population with another?
Well, I mean, if we're talking ethnic, then no.
So is it the cleansing? And this is I like playing this game because it's important for us to get the semantics down. The pro-Palestinian side cannot keep. They have so much bullshit in their hands. Like, it's diarrhea, and I'm sorry for this image, but it's just slipping through their hand. They're just holding a bunch of crap, and it just keeps falling through. It's like there's no like proper wavelength that everybody's on. It's a fucking mess.
I guess it kind of is, isn't it?
It is. And when you take a second, this is why I like when people talk to me. And this is why I really believe that I should be on the forefront of this movement, but I don't feel like I'm being welcomed by many organizations or TV shows or whatever it is to talk about this stuff, because I really think I have these ideas flushed out and thought about in a way that nobody else is talking about at the moment.
If you articulate, that's
Yeah.
not what they want.
I'm articulating in a way that Rabbi Shmuley will never articulate, and in a way that Candace Owens is literally too retarded to understand.
Yeah.
No one will ever create a metaphor with liquid shit on their hands like you.
Thank you, Mr. Joe Paul. Thank you. All right, brother. Well, thank you for calling in, Ayan. I appreciate it. It was nice talking to you, brother.
Yeah, I think you've pushed me back to the pro-Israel side.
Fuck yeah! That's getting clipped. That's going on YouTube. And thank you very much. I don't even want to hear anything else he has to say. I'm kicking him off stage. He could have been sarcastic.
What the fuck did he say?
By the way, guys, I'm again pasting in the chat right now the Discord link, so please feel free to join if you want to call in. I'm trying to prioritize people we have never spoken to. Let's do PZH. You're alive on stage with me. Welcome to the show.
Hey Tal, how are you?
Good, brother. How are you doing?
Good. I like your show very much.
Thank you very much.
So my controversial opinion.
Tell me.
Is basically some research that I've done.
Okay.
On the death toll.
Okay.
On the Hamas death toll. It appears to me that a large number of the children they say that are dead are actually child soldiers, or at least like soldiers, combatants between the age of 15 to 18. And because they're under 18, they count as children.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done some research on that. I've pasted it in one of your Discord chats. I can send it to you. But basically the idea was, where I got the idea from, was that the Guardian in the UK, where I'm at the moment, interviewed a lot of Israeli reservists that finished their their reserves in Gaza, and they asked them if they ever saw any children, any dead children. They said no, but they said that some of the soldiers were quite young. Some of the soldiers that were fighting were quite young. So I looked into it, and apparently there is a history of child soldiers, child suicide bombers, both from the Palestinian, from the PFLP and the PLO, and also Hamas. And there's lots of training camps, like they send UNRWA students, or they used to send UNRWA students to Hamas training camps.
So in short, what
And I
you're
just-
saying, I just want to speed up the question a little bit. In short, you're saying
Yeah, that's fine.
you're saying that it seems like most of the children that have been killed in Gaza were potentially
Young
child
adults.
soldiers.
Young adults, yeah. Teenagers, young adults.
At first, I don't think it's a very controversial opinion. I don't think it's a controversial opinion, but that's just not a point where ever, no matter how much you want to argue, we're never gonna be able to win that point. Like, this is not a point that's given to us. There's certain things in why? Because you're never gonna be able to get on the moral sympathy side of things. You'll never be able to convince somebody that it's still okay to kill a child, even if they were a child soldier. Even if the kid is coming at you with a knife and an AK-47, to the global community, at the moment, we can't defend ourselves from men hiding in hospitals. You're never going to be able to make that argument, ever.
Do you think that it's possible that if I still make this argument, that it reflects negatively on Hamas, that the reason why these children are put in harm's way is because of Hamas recruiting them at such a young age?
Sorry? One more time?
Do you think that people will react morally to the fact that Hamas is the one responsible for putting these young adults in harm's way, and it's not necessarily the IDF's fault that they have to fight these young adults?
It's not the IDF's fault, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Not to the world. I mean, right? It doesn't matter to the world. If it did, we wouldn't be in the position we're in right now. I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be fucking in Vietnam eating a sandwich. I'd be in Hanoi right now eating banh mi, and probably surfing. I wouldn't be here right now. But we're not allowed to. We're not given that right. And it's not a sob story. Don't get it twisted. Anybody who's listening to, I'm not saying, oh, me. It's a right for me to be able to sit here and defend Israel. I take it as a big privilege. But we as Jewish people, as the state of Israel, we are not afforded the right to be able to protect ourselves. Fine, that's the rules of the game. I wish they were different. They're not. Wish they were. They're not. That is what it is. Hope that makes sense.
It's a depressing answer. I would say, though, that when I talk about this with people on Discord, and they come up to me and say, why do you kill thousands of children? And then I paste back a picture of a clearly child soldier, like in fatigue and holding a rifle. I said, children like this, then they stop arguing with me.
Yeah, no, but it doesn't matter. Like you could bring it to the UN. I mean, we've known that Hamas and Hezbollah and all these Islamic terror groups, they force children to fight on their behest, but it doesn't matter. Nobody cares, bro. It's insane to say this. In Ethiopia, in the last 4 years, 640,000 people have been killed. No one cares. Children, not children, no one cares. No one cares. Why am I even going that far? In Yemen, it's in our neighborhood. I went far. I went to Ethiopia. Yemen. Actually, Yemen and Ethiopia are right next to each other. I don't know what I'm saying. Lebanon. Syria. It's on our border. It's 500,000 people or more. No one gives a fuck. No one cares. This isn't a rational conversation. It's not a rational argument, and it shouldn't depress you. It's a schut. It's a privilege to be able to be a part of this and to be able to be a part of this fight. It shouldn't depress you. I don't want you to get depressed from it. I don't want you to get sad from it. Yeah, it's not a fair fight. It's not a fair fight, but we also have an unfair advantage, is that we, whether you believe it or not spiritually, we have miracles that happen for us all the time. I don't know if I really believed in miracles before I got here, before I decided to move back to Israel after October 7th, but I saw them with my own eyes. I mean, I've lived through a few of them. Iran attack 1 and 2 are nothing short of that. Like, they're modern day miracles that could have happened. Can you imagine for a second the miracles that we read in the Torah, in the Bible? Can you imagine explaining to somebody 3,000 years ago what we went through on the night of the Iran attack? Can you imagine explaining to somebody what happened that night, who has no understanding, regardless of the Iron Dome and how amazing the Air Force in Israel and the team behind the Iron Dome protected this country, and how much Jordan stepped to the plate and America stepped to the plate and Saudi Arabia stepped up to the plate to help us and to protect us? Can you imagine explaining to somebody what happened that night? That is nothing short of a miracle. And the fact that the only person that was killed, unfortunately, was a Gazan man in the West Bank. That is, if that's not a message, I don't know how else you can interpret that as just consequence or a circumstance or coincidence. Sorry. 3 C words, I only got it on the 3rd try. That's insane. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I've seen the miracles with my own eyes. And there's other things, but that's the one unfair advantage that we have. It's an unfair fight. It's a totally unfair fight. The odds are stacked so much more against us. I mean, we're 7 million people with our faces up against 400 million people who all want to vehemently murder us pretty much. It's an unfair fight. The odds are never going to be in your favor. But who gives a fuck, man? We got miracles on our side. That's something nobody else can say. Really. And it's not a rational answer to a non-rational conversation.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, brother. Thanks for calling in. It was very nice talking to you. Let's do Burman. Are you here? Okay. No answer. We'll go to Miska. Miska, are you here?
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, hello, Tal. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm calling from Israel.
Welcome. Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
Yeah. I want to say about you talked about the involvement of children in the, Israel is getting accused for killing children and all of this. I think it's deeply rooted in the blood libels of medieval Spain.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is.
What do you think about it?
I mean, it is. There's no denying it. It's a blood libel. The continuous pointing out that Israel kills children and women and children, and the blood of women and children are in the hands of Israel, and it's only women and children that are being killed, and there's nobody else other than women and children. It's a blood libel. But I mean, this is clear. This is clear.
How many children have been killed in the war between Russia and Ukraine, you think?
Hundreds of thousands, probably, at this point.
I don't think if a Russian will go to, let's say, the United States as a tourist, I would not think somebody will say to him, you are a child killer or something like that.
But why would they? What reason would they have for doing that?
What do you mean?
What reason would somebody have to tell a Russian person that they're killing babies?
Why are they saying it to the Israelis?
You have protests on every college campus. You have the mainstream media feeding into it. You have some of the most popular podcasters and media pundits in the world openly repeating those lines, that we're committing a genocide and we're killing babies in this. TikTok, which is the second biggest media streaming platform on planet Earth, consistently and constantly hides and shames the pro-Israel perspective. I just tried posting a video that got 300,000 views of mine on Instagram yesterday of me talking to New York students, New York college students. They immediately deleted the video and gave me a strike on TikTok. Immediately. The video didn't last on the platform for 1 minute. They immediately took it down. And it's not even an offensive video. It's just a conversation with college students about how they're wrong about Israel. The video got 300,000 views on Instagram. But this is the world we live in. Why would they have any reason to talk to a Sudanese person or a Yemeni person or a Saudi person or a Lebanese or a Syrian and give them criticism about what's going on in their countries? They don't fucking know. They don't care. But all day, every day, there's a media machine pushing them this image that Israel is the problem, that Israel is killing babies, that Israel is murdering women and children that you need to care about.
By the way, this claim about the children started way before the current war. If you would go to Google in 2010 and write "killing children," it will immediately send you to Israel. I mean, to this trope started way before. So it's have nothing to do with this current war.
This is a great comment here from Truthfire. Listen to what the Islamists accuse you of, and you will see what they're guilty of. Absolutely. That is like the biggest truth I could ever imagine. Okay, man. Well, thank you, Miska, for calling in. I appreciate hearing your perspective and bring another caller.
Okay,
thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's see. I'm trying to choose a new name here. I haven't heard from yet. What about GRM? Are you new? I think you're new. Okay, no answer. What about Benjamin Frank? You with us?
Yeah. Hey, so I live kind of near like the New York area, and I was listening to this radio show.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I know you've lived in New York or something
Yeah,
like that.
I used to live in New York.
Do you know this radio station called like Hot 97?
By the way, guys, Saluki is in our presence right now. He said he's having a wink to the stream. What a fucking idiot.
But basically, this guy. So there's one of the radio hosts, Rosenberg, who's like an American Jew. He's so basically like if they're not talking about music, they're talking about Trump or politics, and they're talking about Israel. And basically, he's saying like that. All these Christian like conservatives that support Israel, they really want to support creating like a Christian state in Palestine, and just some like really stupid stuff. I don't know. What would you say to like the American Jews who like, they think like this? They're on the side of Palestine, and they think that like, Israel is really this big evil group, and like that Israel is just as bad as the Nazis or something.
Honestly, you asked this question at the perfect timing because we have like a self-hating Jew, pro-Palestinian Jew amongst our presence, like Saluki.
Sorry, hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't hear anything from.
Oh, I'm saying it was amazing that you asked this question because we have like a self-hating Jew, anti-Zionist Jew that just arrived in our midst. So I can direct this sort of as him as well. Saluki, Saluki's been like really going hardcore anti-Israel, anti-Zionist, kind of on the border of anti-Jewish. Even though I'd say it hasn't totally gone into that level yet, it's getting there with his propaganda. And it's the same exact. It's the same thing I would say to him. It was the same thing that I would say to the American Jews who do it. You guys are fucking stupid. I texted Saluki this today. I would say this to his face as well. It's fucking dumb. You have a fundamental misunderstanding of the region. And it's not only do you not understand the region, you don't understand the history, you don't understand how we got here, you don't understand the solution. I will be Sharmuta. It's a great name. It says no one should be nice or respectful to Saluki. I will. He's a friend of mine. But I also, as a friend, I can call him out on his shit. I told him this to his face too. I texted this to him. We've been talking all day about and I know he pissed off many people, and I know that self-hating Jews like Netole Kauta, they piss off many people. But the reality is, they have a fundamental misunderstanding of how to solve this issue and why we're here. They think that if they can look at the micro and see just what's happening to Palestinians, which is bad, everyone can acknowledge what is going on for Palestinians in Judea and Samaria and the West Bank is bad. It is not an ideal situation. It is bad, and it's not good, and nobody's happy about it. It is not a good situation. And everybody can also say what's going on in Gaza is bad. It's bad for Palestinians. It's bad for humanity. Nobody's enjoying it. But when you look at it only in the micro and you're unwilling to expand your vision, and on top of that, you demonize the only self-determined ethnic minority in the entire region and condemn them continuously, the only one, for trying to protect themselves and have a semblance of sovereignty in the region, you have a fundamental misunderstanding of what's wrong with this place. Because when I look at the region and I do it in the macro, I see it's not Palestinians versus Israelis. It's the Arab world and the Arabized world against the Jews. And it's been a continuous thing for about 1,400 years. It's not about taking what grievances they have with us and pushing them to the side. It's about looking at what's the greater evil here. How can we justify putting a microscope on Palestinians when we're ignoring the Coptic, Mandeans, Assyrians, Kurds? We're ignoring every ethnic, Amazigh. We're ignoring independence, and we're ignoring sovereignty for every ethnic minority that's suffering under Islam and suffering under Arabs. It's disingenuous, and you sound like a fucking buffoon. But you sound like a genius to anybody who's a fucking idiot. And that's the problem. And you see this from the pro-Palestinian side. Most of their pundits, most of their top dogs and the people, most of them are fucking idiots. Like
Mehdi Hassan.
Name one of the geniuses from the pro-Palestine side. Give me someone. Hassan Piker, Cenk Uygur. These people are literally borderline retarded. They are very, very stupid human beings. And on top of that, most of the times they're unwilling to debate. Same thing like Saluki, by the way. And I think this is fine. I'm not trying to call him out like too much, but because we're still friends. But I've been trying to tell Saluki all day. I was like, hop on the call with me. Let's do a debate. He's like, no, I don't want to debate. I don't want to talk about it publicly. I don't want to debate. Saluki is not even willing to debate. If Saluki is not willing to debate, we're in a real shit, right? If he's not willing to have a conversation about it publicly and challenge his ideas.
All those pro-Palestinian protesters always wear masks, and every time like somebody tries to interview them, they're just like, "No, I won't take questions. No, talk to our PR person," because they don't know what to say. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're not willing, and you see this time and time again. These are not intelligent people that are fighting for the pro-Palestine side. They're people that are wrapped up in emotions. A lot of times, it comes from a good place. It does come from a good place a lot of times. I saw it with my own eyes. But from the same perspective, you're fucking stupid. Like, you coming from a good place does not excuse your stupidity. You don't understand the region. You don't understand what's going on here, and you think you could just focus on Palestine in a microscope, and that'll make you a hero. You're a fucking loser. It's very bad. You don't understand what's going on here. And you definitely don't understand how to solve or get the situation out of here. And the bottom line, I would say the what's the word? Not the ethos of this, but like what's that word? I'm forgetting. The word's escaping me right now. You know, in school, when you had to write like an essay, there was like a
duality?
No. It's like a term that summarizes an entire essay. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? There's like a word. Is it a thesis? Not a thesis.
The essence of the matter.
I think it's a theme, like the theme of that.
Not
essay.
a theme. It's like there's a word. No, not abstract.
The essence.
Not the essence.
Abstract.
Not abstract.
Abstract.
No, not abstract. I'm forgetting the word. It's like a word that summarizes. Anyways, whatever. Like the core of it is. Okay. The core of what I'm trying to say is. And this is really what the core breaks down to. I think it is thesis. Maybe I was right. It might have been thesis. The thesis is, give me one moral or ethical justification to creating a 53rd Muslim supremacist state or a 22nd Arab ethno-state in the Middle East. Just give me one moral argument for it, and I will be on your side. But it needs to be a moral, ethical argument. Give me one that I can go to sleep at night and say, you know what? I believe in a free Palestine. I believe in a Palestinian state. Give me one. No one can. I haven't never heard an answer that has sufficed. And that's the thesis. That's what it comes down to. Like, that's the essence of all of it. Is you could put all the Mizrahi Jewish and you could put the ethnic cleansing and the Nakba and whatever the fuck you want. Right now, where we stand, 2025, with everything that we know, with everything that we've seen, give me one ethical argument. But when you're making that ethical argument, you have to look into the eyes of every ethnic minority in this region and tell them, fuck you. We are going to make another Arab state and another Muslim state. And fuck you. That's what you have to do when you're making that argument. Because that's what you'll be doing. Mm-hmm. You have to look at the Druze, you have to say, fuck you, Druze. You look at the Kurds, you say, fuck you, Kurds. You say, fuck you, Coptic. Fuck you, Assyrian. Fuck you, Mandean. And there's so many more. I can't even remember all of them. There's a million. And they all want their independence. They all want to escape the clutches of this fucking horrific society we live under. This horrific colonization that this region has gone through. So give me one. Give me one. Somebody. And if anybody here has one, by the way, and is willing to chime in right now, you're welcome. Tfaddal, go. Give me it to me. But that's the thing. Nobody does.
Who?
No, nobody has an ethical argument because it's immoral. So, anyways, that's my rant. Thanks for tuning in.
I was also gonna say you should try to look for more like pro-Palestinian speakers. Like try to find like where they congregate. You know what I mean, and then bring them in here.
Okay.
Somehow.
Yeah,
like a Discord server like this, but instead full of pro-Palestinians.
I'll tell you what the situation was. I went through a team change on my YouTube channel the last 2 months, and I took a very big hit in views and finance. Like it was very bad for me and for the channel. I tried doing something. I bet on myself, and it was a mistake. And not because I'm a bad product, just because I'm too inundated with what I'm doing right now to be able to like really expand properly.
Yeah.
And so it hurt my views. It hurt everything on the channel. It hurt my revenue. It hurt everything. But I'm back to where I was before, and I'm hoping that over the course of the next month, this Discord will become a lot more crazy like it was before. Because last time when we were at that peak, Lola can attest to this, we had anti-Semites running through house here. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, you also got to find people like that, not just the pro-Palestinian Arabs, but like the kind of the neos too.
Oh no, we had everything. We had everything in here, and the calls were insane. So we have a call that got 1 million views from one of these Discord calls. So it'll come back to it for sure. It's just gonna take a little time. We're just building the channel back up to where it was about 2 months ago. But this is the game with YouTube. Thank you for calling in, brother. Appreciate you, Benjamin. This is the game with YouTube. Sometimes you have to bet on yourself and take a risk, which I did. At the end of the day, this is a business. It's my business, and I wanted to reinvest in myself and try to do something bigger and better. Life knocked me down a few pegs. Luckily, I don't have a big ego, and I was told by life, like, hey, you're not that good yet. Come down. and I'm gonna keep fighting, That's why I'm here. Because you guys show up, that's why I'm here. If you guys weren't here, I wouldn't be here either. But you guys show up, you show out for me every single time. You always come in, you always ask questions. That's why I'm here. Okay, let's bring on somebody. Oh, Happy Camper, you popped in. You look interesting. Give me your what's your hot take? What do you want to talk about?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you perfect.
Cool. Well, you said give you one good reason why we should give them a state.
Not necessarily. That conversation is over. We can go back to it if you want to, but this is more like if you have something you wanted to debate on or you wanted to argue. So if you're anti-Israel specifically, I don't know where you.
I want to know how much land they expect to get. Like, how much are they asking for? Are they asking for all of it? Are they literally asking for all of Israel?
Who's they?
The Palestinians, the people in Gaza.
So the people in Gaza want the entire. They want it all, and if they could get Jordan as well, they would. They want all of it.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. The people in Gaza don't want Gaza. They don't want Tel Aviv. They want the entire thing. But it's not just that they want the entire thing. They just don't want Jews to be here. This is what Haj Amin al-Husseini fought for with Hitler. I was just watching an amazing in-depth video. I might have to try to do like a reaction or some sort of summary to it on this channel soon because it was incredible. I watched a deep dive about everything about him. Haj Amin al-Husseini was the only historical leader of Palestine before Palestine was Palestine. And he literally fought and died for the idea that Jews should not be here. He was fighting to bring Hitler here to finish the job in Europe here and start doing that across the Middle East. That's how my family ended up here. Because his ideas actually transcended into Iraqi society. They translated Mein Kampf into Arabic, and then they did a pogrom against the Iraqi Jews. It literally came from a Palestinian. It all started from a fucking Palestinian. So,
Paul, do you know where he got the ideology from?
From Hitler.
No, he got it from an Egyptian.
Oh! Actually, you know what? I do believe this was in the video. Correct. You're right.
I just finished the video talking about it. I'll be a great video for you to collab in because it's exactly what we're talking about here. But the ideology came from a guy named Rashid Rida.
Yes.
And he basically created a lie that during the first Aliyah, if the Arabs of Palestine, which he called them complacent non-entities because they didn't know who they were, whether they were Muslims, Jews, Egyptians, Jordanians, Lebanese, they had no idea. And they were called the Arabs of Palestine, not Palestinians, because prior to 1948, Palestine was associated with the Bible, associated with the Jews, and God forbid the Arabs would associate anything with being Jews. So this lie that was told to the Palestinian people was all to basically say that these Jews that know so much about society, if they come in here and inhabit the land, the whole theory of Islamic dominance goes out the window, and nobody wants to join the losing team. So you better stop the Yahud in their tracks, and they're the enemy. And he was and Rashid Rida was Haj Amin al-Husseini's teacher.
Yep. And then again, when he was able to trap, thank you, Joe Paul. When he came into contact with Hitler and with the ideology behind what was going on in the Holocaust, he very much gravitated towards trying to bring that to the Middle East. Like that was the next plan if it would have been successful.
The final solution was part of both of their agendas.
Correct. And I don't remember exactly what what your question was. Happy camper. I already lost the train of thought. What was your?
I was just asking how much land they expected to get.
They wanted all.
Out of.
They want it all.
Okay.
Yeah, they want it all.
That's insane.
The Palestinian Authority takes a bullshit sort of faux normalization stance where they'll be okay with the West Bank, but we know it's not real. The thing is, no Palestinian ideology is rooted in the idea that they have supremacy over the land through Arabism. They believe that they are Arabs, while nobody else in the Arab world truly holds them to be Arabs. They believe that this is Arab land, okay? And they believe that the supreme society that needs to be here is Arab. And so any self-determination of Jews or any Jewish sovereignty here directly negates that belief. So you can't have that. So in essence, you might be able to find some Palestinians that are going to be like, okay, fine, we can, you can do this cut and you can do this cut. But in reality, true in the heart of hearts of every Palestinian, it's to take over the whole thing. It's
okay.
It's sad.
So
it's sad, but that
answers that. That is sad because if they can't work miracles, I guess, with what little bit they had in the 20 years they had it all to themselves, what makes them think they're going to be able to do anything better with all of Israel? More land doesn't mean better. It just means,
my love,
now you've got more stuff to take care of.
My love, it's not about you're not getting it because you're not thinking like a Palestinian, you're not thinking like an Arab. It's not about doing it better. It's not about living life, my love. It's not about that. It's about killing Jews. It's not about, if people are like, we just don't want to starve, we just want it's not about self-determination. Syria got self-determination. Look at Syria. Yemen got self-determination. Look at Yemen. Look at Lebanon. Look at Jordan. Look at Egypt. Self-determination didn't help these places. Not at all. It's not about self-determination. It's not about independence. It's about cleansing Jewish population. Why? When Egypt held on to Gaza and Jordan held the West Bank, did Palestinians ever cry for a state? They were totally fine living under Jordan or Egypt because they were happy that Arabs were controlling the land. It's not about improving the lives of anybody. It's about killing Jewish people. And it's a huge middle
Then
finger.
what?
It's a huge middle finger to their society that there is Jewish sovereignty here. It drives them crazy. They can't handle it.
Then what lie are they telling the leaders of Palestine? What lies are they telling their people? That they're going to get a better life if all the Jews are gone?
Of course, because they tell them the Jews are the root of all their evil, is the root of all their suffering. But the thing is, I can't expect them to internally process what they're going through when we don't even. Most people haven't gotten to my conclusion. When I bring up these conclusions, people fight me on them all the time because they think it's crazy talk. But really process this for a second. Imagine being told your whole life you're a part of this group and you're not even a part of this group. And while being told that you're a part of this group, actively, behind your back and in front of you, they're telling you you're not really a part of this group. Like, imagine living like that. That is a terrible existence. People, I could be a fake Jew, but everybody will still kill me on the premise of me being a Jew. And I can live happy with that because even if I'm a fake Jew, even though I DNA tested myself and I'm 100% a real Jew, even if I was a fake Jew, I could die happy because people want to kill me on the basis of being a Jew. The Palestinian doesn't have that. They're told all day, you're an Arab, you're a Muslim, you're an Arab, you're a Muslim. Yet no Arab or Muslim is willing to save them or help them or do anything for them. And when they're actually around the real Arab Muslims, they're not treated like real Arab Muslims. Because it's rooted in supremacy. But nobody can process these thoughts. These are really, really deep concepts. And nobody wants to have these conversations. It's much easier for people to say, it's a Muslim problem. It's a this problem. It's a land thing. It's like, bro, this region has been fucked. This region has been colonized so deeply. It's so backwards. There's so much work to undo. So much damage to undo.
How do you undo the damage of the brainwashing that's been going on?
Education.
The education that the kids have been receiving. I mean, how do you unteach that?
It's all about education. I'm one person, right? I have a YouTube channel with 400,000 people. I reach around 12 million people a month. Between 10 to 12 million people a month on a good month. On a bad month, it's between 2 to 5 million people.
I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. I'm one person. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm one person, and I'm the only one talking about these concepts in the way that I talk about them. And when I present these topics to people, they're so unwilling to listen or so unwilling to talk about them. I don't know what I can do other than continuously push this agenda. You know, people can call it propaganda all they want all day. Fine, maybe it is propaganda, but I'm just one guy. But imagine if there was a wave of me. Imagine if the JNS and the JFP and the Friends of the IDF and the Haganah and everybody and every Jewish organization was actually, instead of fucking throwing galas for $1 billion and partying and doing red carpet events in New York City, they actually fucking invested in changing the narrative for once. They actually invested in pushing Jewish voices who have been affected by Arab colonization into the forefront of everything. Instead of every single combating has to be about the Holocaust, and it's not to take down from the Holocaust because it's important to talk about, but instead of every response to everything being anti-Semitism and the Holocaust, always and only, if we actually diversified and understood what the problem was and started attacking it head on, maybe we'd see a change. But until that day, as long as I'm in the trenches alone with you guys are obviously here with me, but as the longer I'm going in the trenches on my own, there'll never be a change.
Hello?
Hope that answers your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
and the
calling
guy
in.
who answered like right after you, he gave me a lot to read. Thank you.
Yeah, follow Joe Paul on Instagram. He's great. I am Joe Paul. Give him some love. He's a fantastic guy. We love him very much. Let's bring on Mr. GRM. I can see you chiming in.
Yeah, I tried to talk before, but the microphone didn't work, so I'm sorry. So I must confess, there are many things. I came here with the idea of actually confronting you,
okay,
rather than agreeing with you. But actually, I kind of agree with many of the things you said regarding the fact that Arab nationalism is kind of, I see it as kind of an Arab supremacist movement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's an 1400-year thing. I don't think like history is so one-sided on that regard. I think it's a more complex and gray thing. But
okay,
yeah,
I'm willing to concede that. I'm willing to concede that point.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
But I think you have a point when it comes to, like, I always think of people saying, well, you know, Palestine is being colonized and the Jews are invaders. By the way, that's the typical thing that every anti-Semite says, like, Jews are invaders everywhere. But, I mean, it's fascinating to me that you say the Israel is the problem, but then from the Tigris River all the way to the Atlantic Ocean, we see, like, Arab ethno-states.
Yeah.
And
somehow Israel is the fucking
no
problem.
Diversity of any sort. Like,
Yeah.
basically Arab supremacism, because there's literally no recognition of any other language, of any other cultural group.
And it's not basically,
it
is. It's not basically. It is point blank Arab supremacism.
By the way, like, the history of, like, the minorities that are, like, including the Jews, were literally ethnically cleansed from the Arab world and the wider Muslim world to a point, but mostly the Arab world. Like, it's not only the Jews. Like, people like aren't aware about the level of systematic oppression a country like Morocco or Algeria do,
or Yemen,
to the Berbers or to the Amazigh.
Mm-hmm.
They are not allowed to express themselves in their own language. Let's not even talk about the illegal occupation of Western Sahara, with the literal, like, a wall that goes from north to south. It's the largest wall in history.
All right. I want to visit Morocco. You're gonna get me in trouble. Chill the fuck out.
I'm sorry. Wow.
Chill the fuck out. All right, calm down. I'm still trying to visit Morocco. Calm the fuck down.
Okay, fine, but it's a reality.
All right, but calm down. I'm still trying to visit Morocco.
Fine. Let's talk about the illegal occupation of northern Cyprus by Turkey.
Jesus Christ, that's fine. Go. I've been to Cyprus already. Do whatever you want with Cyprus.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, my rule right now, North Africa, don't touch. The Halij and the Hijaz, don't touch them. I'm trying to go. I'm trying to visit.
Well, you can always go to Libya, the marvelous country that is such a success.
Oh my God, I love Libya. I'm such a fan. Such a fan.
Anyway, but I do want to push you on something that you've said on another stream.
Okay, can I hold your thought really quickly, just because I don't want hold the question. I'm gonna come back to you in 1 second. I just want to shout out real quick all the amazing super chats we got. Tim dropped us €5 saying Saluki just accepted Palestinian citizenship. Great success. Oh yeah, it's fucking Saluki really went deep on that Palestinian citizenship. PC dropped me 5. Thank you, Tim. $4.99 said tall brother. God bless you. God bless you, PC. Thank you so much. BT dropped us a sub chat. We love you, BT. $4.99. Thank you so much for that. PC dropped us another $4.99. Said genetically they only have a small amount of Peninsula Arab DNA. I ran their DNA on illustrative DNA chart. I don't know who you're talking about, Palestinians, but thank you again for the super chat, PC. Daniel Green said, how do you defeat an idea/lie, facts and logic? Absolutely. Could not agree more with that. And Peter Henderson, and thank you for the super chat. Peter Henderson dropped us $5 New Zealand dollars. Said, Bo for Gazan president. Bohammed himself. Thank you so much. And BT just dropped us an amazing comment. Says, he calls to argue. They turn into best friends. That's what I try to do with this show. You know, the idea is not to fucking yell at people and curse at people, even though it does devolve in that to sometimes. But the idea is to, like, hopefully get on a similar page. I like the idea of coming to the same point with people, or at least convincing them to my side. Okay, Habibi, tfaddal, what were you going to say? Sorry.
So, yeah, I heard you about, I think maybe I misinterpreted it.
Okay.
But you did say something about Israeli democracy.
Ooh.
That you didn't really believe in it, and you would rather have a UAE type system in Israel. Am I wrong?
It's a bit of a mischaracterization of what I said, but because look, I love democracy like every other Israeli. I'm comfortable under it. It's what I'm used to. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I just fail to see how we're going to be able to survive in this region in the long term under the democratic system, like under democracy. And there's a bunch of aspects to attack that. And it's not that I necessarily advocate. It's not that I advocate for a UAE style. I think it's something that we can draw inspiration from to create some sort of theological monarchy that may be able to usher us into the next stage of surviving in this region. I just don't see a way that what we're doing right now will be able to survive long term in this.
I think that the idea of a theology of any sort is monstrous.
Theocracy.
First of all, any kind, a theocracy. I believe that the reason why Israel is such a success and why it drives Arab elites, particularly, but also like other elites from other regions, insane, is precisely because Israel is such a success thanks to its democracy, to its openness, and the fact that there is a willingness to openly criticize and openly improve on the mistakes. If you see, for example, the history of the Israeli-Arab conflict, and you notice, like, how can it be that such massive Arab armies are so weak when it comes to Israel? It's obvious, because the Arab armies are basically peasant slaves with weapons, and the generals are incapable of accepting a single criticism of any sort. They actually crush criticism. There's a whole video, actually, about this, but why Arab armies are such failures, because they're basically armies of the top command are armies of yes men.
They're dictatorships.
And yeah, but that's the point. Like the UAE isn't an exception.
But the thing is, here's my main, and I have to cut you soon because I want to bring on a few more callers before we end the show. My idea is it doesn't need to run directly to dictatorship. Like whenever I bring up this talking point, people are like, it's got to be a dictatorship. It's like, no. Calm down for a second. It doesn't need. We don't have to run straight to the worst possible outcome. And democracy again has worked really well for many countries. The only thing is we're up against an existential threat where we're judged unfairly, and we still at the moment rely on other countries to survive. For us,
we'll always rely on other countries to survive. There's no such thing as an isolated world.
Of course,
and in fact,
but the thing is, the main issue here is we do not have the respect of our neighbors. We cannot afford. We cannot afford to be isolated completely. And where we're heading right now, in the current direction we're heading, we are going to be surrounded heavily by a very, very hostile population, both inside of our country and on our borders.
Why inside?
Again, because as Palestinian nationalism continues, and it's going to continue, and we're incapable of quelling that because we're incapable of declaring sovereignty over the West Bank, because we're incapable of dealing with the repercussions of that, because we're a democracy, we're heading towards a very bad situation where you're going to have...
So you prioritize, so what we're saying is you prioritize the annexation of a land fetish like the West Bank over the existence of the Israeli system.
It's not a land fetish. It's absolutely not a land fetish. It's your country. It's your country.
Well, that's the thing. I always thought Zionism having two branches.
Mm-hmm.
There is the main pragmatic Zionism that actually founded and created and gave success to Israel, which is the Zionism that prioritizes the success of its people above what piece of land actually has, like Ben Gurion.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the other Zionism that would want to just annex the West Bank and let the fates go send us to whatever. And I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think that.
Brother, have you ever been to the West Bank?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been to like cities like Ariel before?
No.
Okay. When you go to Ariel, and this isn't me trying to undermine your life experience. Yeah, it's not. I'm not coming from that perspective. Mm-hmm. When you go to Ariel, I saw something like a couple of years ago that I couldn't unsee. When you stand on top of the hill in Ariel, you can see the topography of the West Bank perfectly of Judea and Samaria. And the general makeup between Ariel and Bet El and a bunch of places in the area of Betar is that essentially the Jews sit on the top, on the hilltops, and many times the Palestinian villages are down below. Okay?
Yeah.
These Palestinian villages have had pretty much unfettered access to money and arms from Jordan. As much as Israel has cracked down on them in raids, there's been a massive increase of weaponry that's smuggled in from Iran to Iraq, Jordan, and then into the West Bank. So these Palestinian communities are armed to the teeth. Okay, they could, if they wanted to, eventually build the framework to actually start launching rockets. And in the current situation where we're at, you have this cheese hole map where the Jews are sitting at the top, and the Palestinians are in the bottom. Now, if you were to relinquish that land, and you were to give up the West Bank and Judea and Samaria to the Palestinians in hopes of a Palestinian state, right, and give them autonomy over this land. Topography-wise, the Mishol the coastal plains of Israel are sitting...
I am aware of the lack of geographical depth.
So,
the lack of defensiveness of Tel
in
Aviv.
Gaza at the moment, you have to fire up and over. When you sit atop the hills in Ariel, even Ariel University, you can see Netanya with your bare naked eye.
I agree.
You don't need to fire up and over anymore. You just fire.
But you misunderstand my position.
What I'm saying, your position is irrelevant in this specific argument because they're indefensible borders. That is your country,
I agree.
whether you like it or not. You need that land.
Look, that's the thing. You don't need all the land.
You need the entire bit of it. The entire thing.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Why? You need to you need to be able to defend yourself 100% with no sorry, this phone call's throwing me off. With no is that coming from you, the phone call?
No.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me mute this person.
This guy with the...
Sorry, I threw my train of thought off completely. You need to be able to defend yourself from the Jordan River, from the plains of Jordan, all the way up and over. You want that completely demarcated as Israel, sovereign Israeli land. That's what you want.
Okay, what happened to the Palestinians who live there then?
So this is this is the main crux of my argument of why I'm saying I don't think you can survive as a democracy here. At some point, Habibi, you have to solve that issue. And a Palestinian state, we have a track record with a Palestinian state of what's going to happen. We tried it in Gaza. We know what's going to happen. Akhi, there is no peace plan you could ever make with these people that will ever be enough. Ever.
The problem is, hold on. The problem is that, for example, you said there are 7 million of us. Actually, there are 10 million of us. There are 10 million Israelis. That's one. And those 10 million Israelis, there are 2 million of them who are Palestinian Arabs, who are becoming increasingly abandoning the Palestinian identity because they don't want to have anything to do with it.
I don't know if so that's the thing is I've had a conversation about that specific thing this week. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to concede to you that I can't give you the exact number of the Israeli Arabs that identify as Palestinian, but I understood from people who have been in this space way longer than I have. I actually made the argument that most of these Israeli Arabs were way more Zionistic and pro-Israel, but I had some very, very, very intelligent people in the space. I don't want to name names that you probably know of. If you know who I am, you probably know who these people are, who are advocating to me that it's actually way higher percentage, like 80% or higher, of Israeli Arabs that actually fully identify as Palestinian and very much would fight against Israel in a civil war.
Well, so far, it didn't happen. And they had opportunities.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know if they've really had an opportunity. Have they had an opportunity?
Well, they did. Well, no intifadas, no... well, there were flare-ups, like the beginning of the second intifada, but there are no intifadas.
I wouldn't say...
No
I don't think...
Massive, boycott.
I don't agree with that. I don't think they've ever had an opportunity.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they've had an opportunity. We keep a very, very, very... You know, I have friends who are Israeli Arab, and I talk about this with them sometimes. They don't... While we have equality on paper, 100%, they don't feel like they could be 100% about their thoughts. They don't feel that deep down inside.
If they don't talk to you about them, then how do you know what they think?
I can't know what they think, but you have to imagine.
Well, that's the thing. Their actions speak louder than words and imagined thoughts.
But it's Arab society you're talking about here, and you're talking about it does matter though, because the concept of
just because they are Arabs, the concept of they're gonna act one way.
It does though. That's the thing. The concept of taqiyya under Islam, which a majority of them subscribe to, it is an issue. It's a real thing though. You can laugh at it all day. It's a real thing. It's a very real thing.
But facts indicate that they are loyal citizens to Israel. In fact,
I'm not undermining their loyalty.
They suffered massively the October 7th genocide.
I'm
on
not
Israel.
not undermining their loyalty. Chas v'chalila, I would never undermine their loyalty.
So,
But in the position of a civil war, which would flip everything on its head, okay? And you would have people, which, by the way, many of these people are connected to in family ties, both in the West Bank and in Gaza. This is an unprecedented event. And you wouldn't even, I think a rational person, it would be immoral of us to expect a complete 100% loyalty from this population. Because we wouldn't do the same. Who would do the same? That would be immoral.
well, to be fair, like there are many countries who had civil wars and families broke up, and it's not clear cut in any case. I don't think there's gonna be that kind of civil war anytime soon.
I actually think that we're snowballing towards that quickly.
Really?
I really believe
and who
so.
is gonna between what factions?
I think it's going to start from the West Bank and Judea and Samaria and expand outwards.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's not part of Israel yet. So
The thing is, at the Makrish that it is, but it is part of Israel.
officially, it's under military rule. It's not under
It's your
civil
country.
rule.
It's your country. It's your country and it's your land. It's a part of Israel. You're controlling
Israel
it.
Israel is what the state of Israel is. I don't need to have. That's the point.
Listen, we're not going to get to
point
we're
is
not going to
that-
get to an agreement on this, but I have to hang up. I'm going to try
I
to
guess
take.
like we're both. It's fascinating. I'm sorry, because we're both Zionists and we have such a different view. Of
This is what I love about being a Jew,
Israel
though.
is.
It's what I love about being a Jew. It's one of my favorite aspects is that we get to have these conversations and nobody else in this region does. I can talk to you like this and I can go have a beer with you after. And I can even disagree with the Saluki and fucking I can call him a bitch, which I did today on WhatsApp, and I could still go hang out with him after. Because that's what I appreciate about being in this country and being a part of the fabric of this nation. And that's not necessarily just the democracy side. It's a part of the ethos of our people. We have conversations. Go back as far back as you want in time in the history of our people. The whole Talmud is literally a book of conversations and arguments. It's what we do best. It's what we do best. And I'm proud of that. That's something I'm proud of. And thank you for calling in, bro. This was actually such a lovely conversation. I really appreciated talking to you. Call in again in the future, huh? Let's continue this.
Thank you.
Thanks, bro. Okay, I'm going to try to take one last caller. Marcus K was huffing and puffing here. You want to chime in?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you doing?
I'm all right. You talked about your banning on TikTok.
Keep this kind of brief if you can, just because we're at the end of the show.
Okay. Got it. I was just amazed because I was always calling out the Free Palestine idiots with like quotes from the Quran and the Hadith on what the Muslim plans are for not only the Jews, but also the useful idiots in the Christian and atheist world that are supporting them. And every comment was taken down, like instantaneously.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, well, this is actually a historical fact. The Islamic Caliphate is real. What's the problem, TikTok? But I think that TikTok is an Islamic Caliphate employee.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're owned by the CCP, so we know why.
Yeah, and communism and Islam go so well together, hand in hand, don't they, Tal?
I don't know if it's not Islam. It's Islamism, jihadism, and Arabism. We got to make the differentiation. We have to. It's not Islam.
And I can agree with that to a certain extent. But I was watching another live stream. They were reviewing a video of Sneeko going to Saudi Arabia and speaking with one of the sheikhs.
Mm-hmm.
And the sheikh was sitting here saying, "Well, I speak to these people, and if they have doubts about Islam, then I call them a kafir and I send them on their way," which is a disbeliever for those that don't know what that means in Arabic. So anybody that has doubts about Islam, or like your first caller who came in and said, "Oh, I don't agree with everything," those that are tried and true Islam would call that Muslim a kafir, and just probably essentially, keep him at arm's length as far as the faith is concerned. He'll still pray to Muhammad 5 times a day and Allah, but he's kept at arm's length because he has doubts about what the Hadith says, doubts about what the Quran says, and it's complete submission.
That's what I'm saying all the time. Is the whole idea of a true Muslim is a fucking facade. It's a lie. It's a farce. Yeah. There's no such thing as a real Muslim. It doesn't even the thing doesn't even make sense. Even between the Khalij to the Hijaz, even there they have disagreements, like major disagreements about the religion and Hadith. Even there, even where they're a little bit more cohesive about it. So
Yes,
like,
sir.
so how are we supposed to, like, I can't take a Pakistani seriously in front of an Egyptian because they're two completely different ideologies. Have you ever seen like Shia Pakistanis and they're going Ali, 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 like the Iraqis too, they're slapping themselves in the face. They're fucking hurting themselves with belts. And the Palestinians look at that and they're like, I'm not associated. Astaghfirullah, that's not real. I'm not a part of that. I don't believe in that. And then the Lebanese are like, don't associate me with the Palestinians. They're all terrorists. And the Syrians are like, fuck those guys. We're the real Arabs. I'm like, it's all a lie. It's all a farce. It's a bunch of bullshit.
And to prove your point as well, it's like, so if you were, and I know you want to go to Morocco so badly, and I hope you get there one day, bro. It's like the idea of you bringing what's noted as Hafsa's Quran, which is the first printed word of Quran that Uthman took, even though it's perfectly preserved, but whatever. You know, you can't go to Morocco and read Hafsa's Quran because the Moroccans will have a serious problem with you quoting Revelation from it, because apparently they're reading something completely different over there that doesn't coexists with the quote unquote Quran that came from Arabia. It's really baffling to me, and it's no wonder that they're all killing each other every day.
Yeah. It's not surprising at all.
However, Sahih Muslim 2922, book 54, hadith 103 makes it very clear that the last day will not begin till you fight the Jews, and they can all agree on that, and that's what
I don't. You know what? I don't think they all agree on that. I got to be completely honest with you. I really don't think they all agree on that.
Okay.
I don't think that they all agree on anything, bro. Even in Palestine, all right. Even in Palestine, all the groups hate each other. Hate.
True.
Like vehemently hate. They can agree that they hate Jewish people more, but they still hate each other. Like the Bedouins of the North cannot stand the Bedouins of the South. And the Bedouins of the South hate the Bedouins of the North because they think they're a bunch of pompous freaks. Because most of the Bedouins in the North, they serve in the army and they're part of Israeli society. They become a little bit more Israelized. The Bedouins in the West Bank want to kill everyone. They're like the fucking Wild West out there. The Afro-Palestinians and the Afro-Bedouins are treated as slaves, and they're called slaves by all of them. If you're black in general in the Arab world, you're known as a slave. The Palestinians in East Jerusalem hate the Palestinians inside of Jerusalem. The Palestinians in Jerusalem hate the Palestinians in Jaffa. And even in Jaffa, I lived there. Every night I'd wake up to fucking gun battles in the middle of the street. You hear it. In the middle of the night, you hear them shooting. And it's not Muslim on Jew. It's Muslim on Muslim. It's Arab on Arab. Nazareth has fallen into chaos. So has Bethlehem.
Crazy. And it's a shame because
Nazareth,
I've visited
Christian
Israel, and
Christian
all these places
Arabs,
are so nice.
Christian Palestinians are leaving Nazareth in droves to live with Jewish people in Nofa Galil because of how fucked it has become there.
Right. And, you know, final point, I don't want to keep it too long. It's like, I see all these Christian.
Oh, I see Saluki's in here. One second. I'm going to invite Saluki up. Yeah, finish your point. Sorry. Finish your point, Marcus.
Okay, no problem. It's just the Christian Palestinians that are living in the West, you know, sitting here and screaming free Palestine too. I'm like, you don't seem to understand the jihadists will make you pay the humiliation tax if you don't convert to Islam. And if they conquer you by your right hand, then God only knows what they'll do to you. I mean, we see what went on in Syria, you know, just a couple of months ago. So it's really baffling. I hate the fact that, you know, I've been to Israel so many times. The Jews are such nice people. And then, you know, you get to a point where you're 8 years old and you're experiencing the Lebanon War in 1983 just because you want to visit your grandparents, who, by the way, are from Poland because they're Zionists. It's a pity. And I pray for you guys every day.
Well, thank you so much, brother, for calling in. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks so much.
All right. Have a good day,
You too, man. You too, man. Ladies and gentlemen, mashallah, we've got the man himself calling in from Palestine. The Saluki is live with us. Bro, we've got I could push it probably 5 to 8 minutes, and then I got to go to my Patreon call. But welcome to the show. Thanks for calling in.
No worries. Yeah, I got to go to the gym soon anyway. You don't have to tell people I'm in Palestine. Last time that was made public while I was live, then I had the police warning to come and send the IDF to get me, but okay.
Oh, my bad. I thought that was public information. I'm sorry. I genuinely thought that was public info.
No, like when I post stories and I'm here, then I post them like later when I'm in Israel or, you know, whatever. Never mind.
My bad on that. I'm sorry about that, bro. I didn't mean that.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you something. You guys can hear me and see me, right?
Yep, I can see it perfect.
Yeah. When you started talking about Israel and saying, you're Rasbara and everything, then I thought like, wow, he went from being American Jew visits Nablus, Palestine, to like talking about all these talking points and this and that. And I thought like, damn, he's selling out. He's trying to get clout. He's trying to get money. But over time, then it seems that I came to think like, okay, as I met you in real life afterwards. I think I only met you after you started doing these. I don't know what's a polite way to put it, but Aspara videos.
You can call it propaganda.
After you started defending Israel online. Okay, whatever. Then like it's. I don't want to diss you. Like I want to be respectful.
You can go for it, bro.
But
Don't think about it.
like when you started the. Fine. Okay. When you started talking about Israel all the time, then I thought like, he's maybe he's fishing, like for clout or whatever. But then like I met you in real life and I saw that you were. It seems like you're genuine and you really like this is what you think. And wait, I'm trying to open up the stream so I can see the comments and stuff. And anyway, okay. What was I saying? Yeah, I thought like, okay, this is what he really thinks, and that's fine. And as I explained, like on my story or when I replied to your comment, which I deleted, it's also like it's also what I've been thinking all the time, and I didn't want to expose my political opinions because I wanted to be neutral because first of all, that's kind of what's expected to you as a journalist, but or at least an aspiring journalist. I never study journalism or anything, but I do journalistic work. And yeah, like that's why I was neutral. But over time, then I came to realize that I can't really be neutral because people see through my bias, like people, like you can tell what the person thinks, like you can tell what the journalist thinks at the end of the day. Nobody can be 100% neutral. And also because I started writing a book and I realized that also I can't do that and be neutral. Like I can't talk about my opinion. The book is called like Behind Enemy Lines, My Travels in Deepest Palestine as an Israeli Jew, something like that. But I just realized I can't keep doing this and be 100% neutral. And yeah, that's why I gave it up. It's not because like suddenly I'm trying to get clout by saying my opinions about Palestine and Israel. It's not that I'm trying to be favorable to the Palestinian palette. It's just what I think, and I started expressing it. And also because I started I rap too, but I've got a meeting next week with the biggest producer in Palestine, someone who worked with Tamer Nafar, Shabajdid, all these. I don't know if you know these guys, but I'm gonna start writing music too, and that's another thing that is quite hard to do without expressing opinions. I gave up on the whole neutral shtick. And that's it. Like that's it's not like I've changed my mind. It's not like I'm looking for clout or whatever. See, people are saying in the comments, "Oh, he was neutral." Like, yeah, it was pretty clear I wasn't exactly neutral.
I don't I without giving the entire context, because we're at the end of the stream and I don't really have time to give the entire context of this is YouTube and not Instagram, so I'm not sure if even people were following that I called you out today on Instagram. I don't believe in what you're saying right now to me. I don't trust what you're saying is the truth. I don't want to. It's hard for me to now give the entire perspective because you were able to give your perspective, but I genuinely don't have enough time to explain everything. And there's also things that I think is just not appropriate for this live stream to talk about, things that happen behind the scenes between you and I, that I don't want to start bringing up. But I'm calling your bluff, and I don't believe you. I don't trust that you are genuine in this cause. And if you are genuine, I think you're really not intelligent on the subject. I don't think you have the facts. And I really, more so than anything, I want to call you out on the fact that you don't want to have a conversation about it. I think it's stupid. I think it's lame. I think it's loser energy. I think it's very, very small mentality. Because if you're coming out, for example, for people who don't know, today Saluki made a video calling out Israeli travelers. And then the end of the video started getting into territory of inflammatory rhetoric about how we're an apartheid state and the reason why we think we're so supremacist or something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly what you said, that we have a supremacist ideology because we're raised with this perspective of being supremacists. That is literally pinpoint opposite of exactly what's going on in this region. And it's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my life. And while you and I are both world travelers, we can both acknowledge there's a problem with Israeli travelers. Everybody can acknowledge that. There's an issue. The way that you're talking about it is you are literally taking Qatar and IRGC propaganda and you're using your body as a vessel to continue pushing their propaganda. And if you look at the Palestinian perspective in a microscope, you're only putting it on a microscope. You're putting it on a petri dish and saying, I'm only going to look at the Palestinians and not look at anybody else in the region or what's been going on for the last 1,000 years here. That's some bullshit. And that's something I'm going to call your ass out on, and I'll keep on doing it time and time again. It's bullshit and it's fake. And it comes off as disingenuous. And the biggest thing I disrespect you for with that, and I say this as a friend who loves you. I know we're not that close and we don't know each other that close, but you know I'm a huge fan of your videos. I'm a huge fan of your ego, of your content. I love who you are. I really believe in you, and I've told you this as well. I really believe in you, and you know how much I believe in you. When I see you bullshitting, I'm going to call you out on that. And I think that this is utter bullshit. You're choosing to look like the same way that this Emma girl who you were hanging out with, you know, she contacted me before she came here, and I was giving her advice in whether she should come into the airport or not. No idea what she was going to do when she was here. She was here for like 3 months documenting the atrocities in Palestine, and all of a sudden took this perspective. I'm like, this bitch has no idea about this region. She's obsessed with making poverty porn war content so she can make money on YouTube. It's disingenuous. You don't care about the history. You don't care about what happened here. You don't care about how we got here. And the biggest thing I disrespect you about, I got a little bit caught up with what I was saying, is that you don't want to talk about it. The non-debating shit is bullshit. And I really don't believe in that. If you're going to come out and have a bias and you're going to make content about it that's going to get millions of views, you should have a conversation with me about it. And you should have conversations with other people about it. I'm open to having conversations with your friends about it too. I'm dying to have a conversation with that Andre journalist about stuff. But he'll never talk to me. He's never answered a single DM of mine. So that's my perspective. I think it's utter bullshit that you don't want to talk about it.
No, he does. Don't take it personally. He just doesn't open DMs. He doesn't open DMs. It's not. He gets. You, I, him. We get maybe 10 DMs an hour. So
Fair. I'm not fair is fair. I hear that.
I don't want to debate because it's not my thing. Like, I'm not a political streamer. I'm
sorry, it's a little delayed. Sorry about that.
Because I'm not a debater, political streamer. I'm leaving that shit to Norman Finkelstein. What the fuck is his name? To Benny Morris, to Norman Finkelstein, to Hassan Abi, to Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, but you're
Tyler, where is your hair peeking out from the couch?
What happened?
Somebody wants to see your chest hair.
Where is your hair peeking out from top shirts? This Jim Bry's one uppy. I'm getting skinny now. I have braces, guys. I'm barely eating. I only eat twice a day. I'm gonna be real skinny soon. There was I don't know where she's from, this Arab girl, I think, in my DMs today, saying that the only reason I'm calling out Saluki is because I'm jealous of his looks. So I started gaslighting her the entire time. I was like, you're so true. I've been jealous of my Iraqi brother this whole time. I just want to look as good as him. I'm going to start working out now. I'm trying to get as buff as him. I want a six-pack. Listen, I got to end this live stream because I got to go to my Patreon call, but I do appreciate you coming on and taking this live face-to-face. I really do wish that you would consider actually having a debate, even though I also respect that you don't want to. I think it's important, especially if you're going to put out like bullshit ideas like Israelis are supremacists and we live in a supremacist society, when it's the exact opposite of what's going on. I think it's important to have those ideas countered. But I appreciate you calling in, bro, if you want to say anything towards the end.
Oh, okay, let's just talk about that one thing, yeah?
Okay.
Let's But I left here when I was 5 years old and came here when I was 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of grew up here, like maybe, okay, I spent a couple of years traveling, but I spent here most of my life. And when I came from South Africa at 10 years old, I was shocked because, and I wrote about this in my book, we had an Arabic class, and the a whole class. This was in Naharia, mind you, not in a settlement, not in a normal Israeli city. The whole class chanted death to Arabs when the Arabic teacher left the class. And back then already, I realized like something is wrong with the society. Children are taught to be supremacists. Children are taught that they're better than the Arabs. They're chanting death to Arabs when they're 10 years old. Like, where do they get this from? They obviously get it from their parents. They all so, like, I think growing up around Israelis really kind of taught me things that you wouldn't see when you come here, like when you came here like 2-3 years ago to live here. You know, you grew up in a civilized society in New York where you actually greet your teachers and talk to them with respect, instead of Israel where you shout their names out in the class and you throw papers around. And
So I've had a conversation with you about this before. I really don't appreciate the trying to discount my experience. I don't think it's right. First of all, I didn't grow up in New York. I grew up in Miami in a very Israeli community, which was mostly a Mizrahi Jewish community. I grew up speaking Hebrew, eating Israeli food. The first 5 years of my life, I was mostly in Israel. When I went to school, we did make Aliyah at a certain point. When I was like 9 and I lived here for 3 years, I went to school here. I had Arabic class in school. You know, I did live here, and my whole entire life I've had a connection to this place. I lived in Rishon LeZion with a bunch of Arsim when I lived here as well.
What was your experience coming?
I hated living here. I talk about it honestly. I hated living here when I was a kid. I thought society was it was very hard for me to ease into being an Israeli kid. It was very difficult for me. We also lived in Rishon LeZion. We lived in a very like Arsi place, you know, it was very like Mizrahi Jewish, shchuna kazeh. The shit that Amir Chetzroni, that I've seen some of his content, the shit that he actually, I think it's ironic that he says, but that stereotype that he pushes about Mizrahi kids being uncivilized animals, that was kind of the stereotype I lived amongst when I was here as a kid. I got bullied so hard in school here when I was a kid. I had kids who would take cigarettes and turn them off on my shirt. That's how hard I got bullied when I lived here as a kid. It didn't make me turn around and say that.
What? I'm sorry.
Like a kid, I'm Chaber Sigalia. There was a kid that used to turn a cigarette off on my shirt. Like he would make holes in my shirt. He would bully me. It didn't make me turn around and say that we live in a supremacist society, though, because I grew up around the Abulafia family. I grew up around a family, one of the richest Arab families in this country, who are close personal friends that I've made many videos in the past. And I grew up learning from him. Those are my first Arab friends. You know, his son Muhammad, that I've made videos with in the past, was a close friend of mine growing up. And I actually grew up with this idea of having coexistence my entire life. And in my family's home, we've had Arabs coming in and out of it. I have a cousin who's married to an Arab who ended up living in a Bedouin Arab settlement, or a Bedouin Arab non-recognized settlement. So you have a different experience than what I have. But and you've talked to me about this in person, your one negative experience, or maybe you've had multiple since then, has rubbed you so wrong the entire way that you look at the entire country as supremacist, when in reality, the history of this region tells a completely different story. We're actually living in a society that is trying to coexist. 70% of us identify as Arab Jews, whatever the fuck that even means. And I'm more lenient with my definition of that anyways nowadays, because I understand I can't be an extremist about it and be like, we're not all Arab Jews. There are some people who fall in that binary of an Arab Jew. But you have 70% of this country that identify as that. Who are you to say that we're supremacist? This shit's a fucking tribal warfare. Are you kidding me? As if Palestinians for one moment are not the most supremacist. And you know that. Akhi, I know exactly how the ones in Jaffa talk about the ones in Jerusalem. They hate each other. That's why there's fucking gunfights every night in Jaffa. I woke up to that shit. I was living in Jaffa for 3 months in the summer. Every night without fail. It's not just gang wars. It's a supremacist mentality. Look at the Middle East. You talk to one Arab country, they don't recognize the next one as an Arab because he's not Arab enough. And that's the whole case of the Middle East. So and again, I really have to end this already. I really think you need to check yourself, bro. And I'd love to have an expanded debate with you on this, because I think we could get to some great conclusions together. I think we could actually get to a good conversation. I respect if you really don't want to, but I think it could be good.
I don't know, man. I don't think you're gonna budge on anything
I'll budge.
that I say, and
I will budge.
Really take into. I don't think you're really going to take into consideration anything like that.
I will budge and I will concede. When I'm wrong, I will concede. I'm the first person who's able to do that. I pride myself on that. I don't have an ego with this shit. My ego doesn't exist. I will concede a point if I am wrong and you prove it to me outright that I'm wrong. I will concede that point. But the thing is, I did the work, akhi. Maybe I don't have as much experience as you inside of all these cities in the West Bank. But I went and I did my homework. I followed in your footsteps. You inspired me and I went and did it. And I learned when I was there on the ground. It was a few hours. In some places it was a few days. But I went to learn. I wanted to understand. I wanted to see. I have some stuff that's not on camera too that I can't necessarily talk about out in the open. But I went and experienced and I saw. And I have friends who are living there. I have friends who are seeing this stuff. Your presentation... And I see you going into this very dark zone. Your presentation of the conflict and the way you're trying to demonize Israelis and demonize, maybe you're not doing it to Jews, but it will demonize Jewish people inadvertently. It's really fucked up. It's really fucked up. And I would never do that to Palestinians.
The problem is that, you kind of are. You kind of are denying their whole existence. You say that their identity was invented in 1962.
I don't say that. I don't say that.
I don't think it's me demonizing the Jews. I think...
I never say that. I always say that Palestinian identity exists today. Its history is messy as fuck, and everybody knows that. That's clear cut. You can't argue that. Its history of when this identity became an identity is very unclear. It's very unclear. Are they Canaanites? Are they Philistines? Are they Phoenicians? Are they Israelites? You give them the Israelite identity, they don't want it. You give them Canaanites, they say no. Those were fucking child sacrifices. We're the Arabs, but they're not the Arabs. And genetically, we can both agree these people are probably Jews. So I'm with you. I don't deny their existence. I love them. I love them dearly. I really do. But and I agree that their existence is here. I'm not saying they're a made-up identity. They exist today as a nationality. You can't deny that. But when it started, it's a different story, man.
The thing like that I see as the most counterproductive towards Jews and what causes the most anti-Semitism is that Israel is committing these war crimes, is committing genocide in the name of the Jewish people. They say this is the Jewish state, and then they go and do this and that, and that's what is so counterproductive and what is causing anti-Semitism to be rampant, because they're doing it in the name of the Jewish people.
Well, when you say it, I don't even believe you. You don't even look like you're confident when you're saying it. Genuinely, akhi. It doesn't sound. I'm calling you on your shit because
I don't believe you.
It doesn't feel like what you're saying is. You don't even seem like you're convinced of what you're saying. You know that there's not a genocide going on. You know there's not a genocide going on.
As I said, this is gonna take hours, and you're not gonna budge. I know what you think, and I've heard your talking points about how it's not a genocide. I know what you're gonna say. I know that also many scholars agree that it is a genocide, and it has been ruled as a genocide. And that's why, I don't want to debate. I think it's pointless.
We should debate. I agree. We can't do it right now, but we should definitely debate.
And I'm not a debater or a political.
You are now.
I'm not a debater or a.
Habibi, you are now. You made a stance today condemning Zionists and saying that we're a supremacist nation. Whether you like it or not, you're on my hit list with this shit. You walked into it. You are here. Whether or not you want to have a debate, that's on you. But you did it. You decided to pass that. You said it yourself. You were trying to be neutral, wanted to be neutral. You went into the other side. Now you just come off as a bit of a puss because you don't actually want to talk about it. You're like, I just want to say my piece and I want to walk away and write my book. That's not cool, bro. This is what I told you in text. It's beta energy. It's not.
No, it's just better. It's not my niche to debate people, and I don't want to. I don't want to take that career path and start making videos like you, where low effort reacting to other people's content.
It doesn't have to be low effort. You don't have to make reaction videos. I found something that works for my niche. It doesn't mean that you need to shift your entire perspective into. There's many people who don't make reaction videos who debate.
I know you're making money. I know it seems like you actually believe in what you're saying. So if it feels virtuous to you, then great. But I don't know. That's not what I would do.
Again, nobody ever for a second said that that's what you need to do. But you are taking a stance into the political sphere. Whether you like it or not, you did it today. You made a hit piece on Israeli people. You made a hit piece on Zionists. You stepped into that zone, not me. I've been in it. You decided to make that peace. You know, it's again. Anyways, this is a long discussion. We could have this forever back and forth. We should have it. I still hold the fact that we should do it. But anyways, man, I still very much appreciate you, and I love you as a friend, and I wish the best for you always. And that's it, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Likewise. All right, brother. Yada, thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you later.
I hope you enjoy the Hasbaramani. No, I'm joking.
Thanks, bro. Yada, bye. Bye-bye. You see, the thing is, we may disagree with each other, but I still want to keep it civil. There's a point, I told him, there's a point where he's going to cross the line. I don't want to say it's going to get to a point of no return, but I'm keeping it civil for now. I just love this comment of Rachel. It says, stop eating Kubasetic and you can do it. You too can have a 6-pack. I refuse. First, I don't want a 6-pack. Who the fuck wants 6-packs? Overrated. I don't want a 6-pack. I don't think any of you guys would like the type of person I would be if I had a 6-pack. Let's be honest. We don't need Tal with a 6-pack. We need Tal to be a nice, well-fed Jewish boy. Kubasetic over everything, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. My friends, I love you very much. I hope I made you proud today. I always try to. I hope you guys choose to support the channel. Did I miss any super chats here? I don't want to miss anyone's super chats. Oh my God, somebody dropped us $99 from Dark Wizard. He said, hey Tal, I am Jewish. I'm also a professor. I teach philosophy. Don't specifically advertise my Jewishness or my connection to Israel. You know, I've been targeted by students, but also by my colleagues. Keep doing what you do. I want to fight, but I would lose my job. Well, I love you and I appreciate you and thank you so much for supporting my work. That is one of the best ways to actually keep getting the message out, by supporting people like me. So thank you for believing in me enough to give me $100. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. All right, guys, I'm signing off for now. I appreciate all of you. Hopefully there'll be some cool clips from this. And I'll see you in the next one. Love you a long time. Goodbye, Klats. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me. By the way, I forgot to say, anybody else who wants the bonus live stream, join the Patreon right now. It's $10 a month. You get a bonus live stream on Discord right now. It happens after every single stream. We do a bonus stream. Today's will be a little shorter because I went overtime with Saluki, but a stream nonetheless. You get an extra stream right now. That's where I'm going, on Discord. Join Patreon. Love you, bye. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.